Robert Towne, an Oscar award-winning star, well known in Chinatown, sadly passed away. He was 89. Robert Towne was well known for his master of art of screening.
My father's business went bust here in Los Angeles, and we moved to San Pedro, which is where I grew up, and which in an odd way I still consider home. It's just, I think you're so influenced by the first 10 to 15 years of your life that, I mean, even today when I drive down there, I think I'm going home. Parts of it have changed very little, but I grew up in a city in which it was unusual for the friends of my parents to have English as their first language. It was a very polyglot community. I mean, that's something of an exaggeration, but there were the Slavs, as they were referred to then. I think they were mostly Serbs. The Bogdanoviches and the Trutaniches and the Nizetiches and a very hearty and kind of outgoing people, many of whom were fishermen, and that's how I ended up working on a tuna boat. I knew the Bogdanoviches, who were just starting a little company then called Starkist Tuna. My folks knew them. And my father was, I think he came here from Minnesota because he, as he told me, he woke up one morning at the age of 15 and went to wash his hands in the not the sink, but a pan or a bowl or whatever he had in his bedroom, and it was frozen. And he said, "That's it, I'm getting out of Minnesota." And he came to California, became a Weatherby Kaiser shoe salesman for a while, and knocked around and did what he didn't. Met my mother, who had been born in Santa Ana. His name, I gather, had originally been Armour, but they got German passports coming from Romania, and the name was Schwartz. And then when he went broke and moved to San Pedro on 6th Street across from the Warner Brothers Theater there, which dictated my future profession. The name of the dress shop that he took over was called the Towne Smart Shop, as in Ye Towne Smart Shop. So he began being called Mr. Towne, and I think he liked that. And by the time my brother was born, his name, he had legally changed his name, and I have never regretted that. My wife has said to me she never would have married me if my name had been Schwartz. It was an interesting time.
Did you have more than the one sibling?
Just my brother, who was also a writer. I think he's most known for writing The Natural. But it was a fascinating time growing up in San Pedro during the war. One of my happiest, one of the most eccentric memories I have is of Italian prisoners of war who in San Pedro had it better than anybody else because they were supposedly imprisoned at Fort MacArthur there, but in fact were always given the run of the city. They were in impeccable uniforms with a little POW here, and they had cameras, and they were dating all the girls in Pedro and having a wonderful time. So the Japanese had it rough. They went to internment camps, but the Italian POWs had a great time.
Since you and your brother both became writers, do you think that there was something special about your early days, either in your home life or the stories that you remember, like what you're saying now, that kind of propelled that in some way? How did two boys from San Pedro, from the family that you're describing, decide to be writers or become writers, do you think?
I don't know how we both did. I know that I was interested in writing from a very early age. My mother read to me a lot when I was young. And I think she used to write poetry, and there seemed to be some suggestion of writing in the family. Apparently I had a great-grandfather who was a journalist. I never met him, regrettably. But beyond that, I guess I have a Warner Brothers theater to thank. Loving movies growing up there. I remember the first thing that had any impact on anybody was in a creative writing class at Pomona College, and I wrote a sort of a short story about my experiences as a tuna fisherman, and that got everybody's attention, just the experience of it. Actually, what I thought I was going to be was a journalist. I was interested in at that time, and I've always thought that a critical component of screenwriting screenwriting is something that is very well served by a knowledge of the world and its textures, and journalists do nothing so much as in reporting stories. They report on all aspects of life and society and work and you think about the numbers of screenwriters from Hecht and MacArthur, Pileggi. Journalists have, historically done very well as writers, and I think that I've always thought that the two of the best people who were never screenwriters who should have been were Mark Twain and Rudyard Kipling, both of whom were journalists, and whose ear for telling dialogue and refrain, and whose eye for telling detail is just perfect for screenwriters.
Robert Towne's other roles were seen in Last Mission, Impossible, Tequila, and so many more. There is no clear details on his final arrangements or cause of death that has been reported officially. Our thoughts goes out to his family and loved ones, and may his soul rest in eternity. Drop us your condolence messages in the comment section, and kindly keep the comments respectful. Remember to subscribe to Taj News Media and turn on the bells so that you don't miss out on anything that we upload. I love you guys, and keep safe. Bye bye.